Well, my going into the game, I practiced the way I practiced. You
Okay.
know, my mindset was different. My mindset was the same. It was just mainly just focusing on the playbook, focusing on the game plan, focusing on the people that you have to block. But if you go into it, I think if you go into it with too much pressure that it's a Super Bowl, it's a Super Bowl, it's a Super Bowl. Sure, you want to win, but if you go too much, you'll end up, well, like some people get too tight, they get too hyped.
Is there anything better than a trip getting ready?
Nope.
For a long journey where our podcast released a new app and searching for a fade fiend. New fixation. Giving this a subscribe is the same sensation. Started with the day ones, they gave us fuel to support the season. Could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here for a reason. Notification bells, tap some friends, all to let you know. Check your Bluetooth, connect, talk your wisdom out.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the pleasure of welcoming Earl Cooper, a former NFL tight end who played a pivotal role in the legendary San Francisco 49ers team during their Super Bowl victories in the 1980s. A standout student athlete from Rice University, Earl not only excelled on the field, but also embraced the life lessons learned through his football journey. Join us as we dive into his experiences, insights, and the excitement of the upcoming Super Bowl. Mr. Cooper, how are you this morning?
I'm doing fine. How you doing today?
Hey, sir, I had some technical difficulties, but the most important thing is I'm able to talk with you right now. So we thank you for joining our show here on KZI.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So, sir, you participated in the NFL, member of a Super Bowl championship team. How was that experience? And how does it contrast with the anticipation team's experience immediately prior to the Super Bowl?
Well, I had the good fortune of playing in 2 Super Bowls. I was drafted out of Rice as a running back, and then I played one Super Bowl as a running back and 1 Super Bowl as a tight end. I'll tell you, it's a great feeling. You have to be locked in, lots of team chemistry, a lot of hard work. And it's really exciting to get there, to be there, to win games. But it's also exciting the 2 weeks of all the hype and the focus, what it takes to create that team chemistry and to win a Super Bowl. And I had the pleasure of being on 2 teams, and both were totally different.
That's good, because I was kind of curious. What do you believe occupies the players' minds in the locker room hours before the match? And since you had 2 different teams, was one team different before the Super Bowl than the other team, as an example?
Well, the thing is the fight to get there, and it's you try your best to treat it like a regular game, but the 81 team, the Super Bowl XXIII teams, we didn't know that we were going to be that good.
Oh,
And we hit winning streaks and stuff like that, and our confidence grew as we went along. So in 81 for Super Bowl XXIII, we were building together. In 84, we had created that, and between 82, there was a strike. 83, we lost the championship to the Washington Redskins, and that kind of fuels you and bonds you in that offseason that, hey, we were right there 3 points away from another Super Bowl, but we didn't do it. So that creates focus in the offseason, how hard you work, and going into 84, and you had a different kind of focus than 81, because 81 for Super Bowl XXIII, you were still learning how to win.
yeah.
But in 84, we knew how to win, and we went 15-1 that year in the regular season. And then, of course, I was part of one of the first 15-1 team after we went to a 16-game year. And then, of course, you finish 18-1. Was it? I don't know, 18-1, because you win throughout the playoffs. And
Yeah.
so I guess that's the closest thing you can get to perfection. But we were expected to be good. We thought we could be good, but even at that, the Miami Dolphins, for some reason, we had a better record, but they still picked us as underdogs in that Super Bowl.
Speaking of resiliency and lessons learned, so you guys in week 6 of the 84 team, y'all went into Giants Stadium, beat them 31-10. Now, your
Yes,
only blemish was the next week at home, you guys lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers 17-20. And then
yes,
the week right after that, y'all got right back on your horse at the Astrodome and y'all went down there and played and y'all won 34-21. When you look back at that loss, sandwiched in between those two teams, because between those two wins, y'all put up 30 points on the Giants and then down at the Astrodome. What do you attribute that day with the Steelers? If there's a good loss, that's got to be a good loss, right?
well, it was a good loss, but nobody ever thinks it's a good loss when you're winning like that. And
Yeah.
a loss sometimes kind of wake you up because you get kind of arrogant and you start feeling yourself, as they call it. And the thing is, the tough part about doing coast to coast on Monday Night Football, Tuesdays were our day off, and so you get off what people don't realize, when you play in the East, you don't get on the field until 9 o'clock, and you get off the field about 12 Eastern time. And then we just got right back on the plane and we flew all the way back to San Fran. With the time change, I think we landed like 7:30 in the morning. And you got guys 23 to 32 or whatever the age difference, whatever the ages might be. Who's going to really go home and go to sleep on your day off? So I attribute that to that, with jet lag, the coast to coast trip from New York. And we had the legs and we had a chance to win because, we missed the field goal right there at the end to send it into overtime. We had a drive, but we had opportunities to win that game too. But like you say, it was a wake up call. Then we go to Houston and we play, and then we have an injury. I think the tight end, I was at tight end at that time, and Russ Francis got hurt, unfortunately, in Houston, and rest his soul. We lost him in a plane crash last summer, I think, because he was an avid flyer.
Okay.
And then I had the good fortune to start the last 8 games and at tight end, and I just love being a tight end over being a running back. But both of them served their purpose for me. Running back got me drafted, and tight end got me extended.
Well, for our listeners, I just want them to know, you seem like a consummate professional and teammate, but they want to know. For those who don't know, he had 6 catches for 50 yards in that game against the Steelers, tied for second place because in that game also Russ Francis had 50 yards in that game too. The lead was Dwight Clark. He caught one more pass. He got 17 more yards. Sorry about that. The only other person that got more passes than you was Roger Craig. He got 7 coming out that backfield.
Yes.
You had a good game, but I know people would want to know those stats.
What happened with that is we didn't have timeouts, and we had a formation where I would just run a drag route to the sideline, and I think I caught like 4 of those, maybe 5 of those passes on the final drive. Wow. And sometimes, I would catch it, go up the field a few yards what I can get, and run out of bounds. A couple of times I look back on it, I'm like, man, I should have pressed the issue. I was on the sideline anyway, and I'm left-handed. If they would have tackled me, my left hand was to the ball, and I'd have fell out of bounds. But with Bill Walsh and his perfection and things like that, and the way we were coached, you didn't take that chance. You get what you could, and you got out of bounds, and you really didn't push you didn't push the envelope that hard, because if you made that mistake, you know, you have to play mistake-free ball if you're going to win.
I was going to ask you about that, sir. I actually thought that was one of the items, the Mark Andrews, the tight end for Baltimore. He's a bigger, blockier guy. No offense to that and him. But I felt that one fumble, that first fumble he had, I felt like he caught it and he was trying to do something extra. He wanted to make a guy miss and do a little extra versus going down. And that's when they got punched out. And I
Yes.
believe sometimes that's the difference. But like you said, you get what you can and get down versus trying to get extra.
You know, it's all, when it comes to the playoffs, every play matters. Every mistake hurts. And we luckily that in 81, we overcame 6 turnovers against the Cowboys. I know the Cowboy fans don't want to hear that, but we got lucky, but they had turnovers too. But the thing is, going into the playoffs, the team that seems to be more successful, the less turnovers, the less mistakes, and the health and the healthy teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I can understand that.
and you, what is a yard, you know, as opposed to giving up a fumble? You know, I'm gonna go off topic right quick, because, you know, I coached girls basketball and I had a girl that was pretty good, and I told her, I say, you know, I told her, your jump shot is, for me, is just as good as a layup. I'd rather for you to give up 2 points than getting your 4th foul, so I can keep you in the game.
Got it. Yeah, I see that. If I could go
You know,
back to that play, sir, I felt one other little thing for Mark Andrews, the tight end for Baltimore Ravens, to those who were not watching the game. That second play of his, the catch where he was going to fall backwards into the end zone for the 2-point conversion that would have tied
right.
it up, possibly sending it to overtime. I believe at that moment, because of what happened earlier, I believe he thought, okay, now I'm just going to catch it and fall backwards because I got my momentum going. I'm going to just catch it and fall backwards because I'm in. I know I'm in. And
Right.
that
You know,
was the problem.
yes. The thing about us athletes, we have so much confidence in ourselves. You know, you never think you're going to miss a pass, you know,
Right?
and you constantly think about, hey, I got this. And it looks like from TV that it was such a simple pass, but when you have 1,000 things running through your mind, really nothing is simple. You know, catching your footwork, falling backwards, things like that. And everybody wants to do their best. Nobody really wants to make a mistake. Nobody really wants to make a fumble. The great catches sometimes is just reactionary catches. And
Yes.
what seems to be an easy catch is probably your best, probably your most trying catch, because that's something you expected to do. You expected to catch, and you expect that of yourself.
So what was your personal preparation for the Super Bowl in terms of physical and mental readiness? Just kind of curious. Love to see your game plan personally.
Well, my going into the game, I practiced the way I practiced. You
Okay.
know, my mindset was different. My mindset was the same. It was just mainly just focusing on the playbook, focusing on the game plan, focusing on the people that you have to block. But if you go into it, I think if you go into it with too much pressure that it's a Super Bowl, it's a Super Bowl, it's a Super Bowl. Sure, you want to win, but if you go too much, you'll end up, well, you know, like some people get too tight, they get too hyped. I tried my best just to stay relaxed, stay focused, make sure I had every offensive protection scheme that we had against the blitz and the hot receivers and the routes. And, you know, if you do all that and you catch every pass, like I think Joe was pretty accurate for that day as far as completion. So we were pretty locked in for what we could do and what we did.
We're
But
talking.
go
Sorry,
ahead.
sir. I was just going to reset for everybody. We're talking to Earl Cooper, former NFL tight end, played a pivotal role with the San Francisco 49ers team during Super Bowl victories in the 1980s. Sir, I am shocked that we waited this long to find out, but we've got possibly the greatest tight end of all time in accomplishments coming down here with Travis Kelce. How do you view the tight end nowadays, and more specifically him?
Well, I think what we did in the West Coast offense kind of led up to the likes of Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce and the things that the tight ends do now. I think that that was a leading up to the West Coast offense and the spread offense. Of course, we didn't run the shotgun like that, but I think they just a great asset because for a long time the tight end was thought to be an extra tackle on the side that they went to instead of fourth or fifth receiver in the passing game. And I love it right now. And I'm like, with the talent that a lot of people that I grew up with had, including myself, man, if we could just be that open now with the receiving and open up the field, I think it would be great to see some of the guys like Kellen Winslow and Russ Francis, Charlie Young, the great tight ends that were limited to maybe catching 20 passes a year or 30 passes a year, what they could do now. But, timing is everything, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What counsel would you offer to aspiring athletes that aspire to compete in the Super Bowl?
Well, the thing is, my dad always told me, never get tired, never let your opponent think that they're better than you or they're out hitting you or outworking you, and I was once, told that, just if you're on the field, don't get outworked, don't get out thought, don't get out prepared. Some people may have better physical qualities to you or maybe stronger, maybe faster. I see some of these guys now. I played at 6'2", between 225 and 230, and ran a 4.5. But these guys right now, they have all this talent, but work on your footwork, work on your hands, concentrate. Run the routes hard, and when the never go to sleep on a play. If the quarterback is moving, you're moving. Don't just stand there and watch. Fine example of Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews. That's why they catch so many passes. That's why the quarterbacks have so much confidence in them. Make sure that your teammates have all the confidence in the world in you, that you can do the job when you're called on.
Sir, I just have two more for you. Again, we have the pleasure here on the Fans View of welcoming Earl Cooper, former NFL tight end, who played a pivotal role in the legendary San Francisco 49ers teams. I mean, 49ers fans, they're thinking Roger Craig, Dwight Clark, John Stallworth. Joe Montana. It's incredible, sir. What if you had a chance, or when you have your time, what Super Bowl moment do you relive? What Super Bowl experience would you choose to relive?
Well, first of all, you relive the championship games.
Yeah.
I'm here in Texas, and I can mention the catch and that goes on. But as far as getting to the Super Bowl is the most exciting part of winning that championship game to get there. Because if you don't win that game, you don't get there. Right. But my championship moment had to come, on the touchdown that I scored with Joe Montana, catching his first ever touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, coming out of the backfield. And I think I made a pretty good catch. But, the thing is, it never entered my mind that I would miss that pass or drop that pass.
Yeah.
The only thing that happened once I caught that pass, I think a thousand thoughts run through my mind, and I tell this story to my family, to my friends, and people that I talk to all the time. After I caught that pass coming out of the backfield, I'm like, should I run to the pylon? Should I turn up? If I don't know how all this went through my mind within 10 yards. If I don't make it, they're going to bring the short yardage back in, and I won't get a touchdown for the Super Bowl. And I'll be like, oh, what the heck? Just turn it up, go north and south, and see what happens. And I bounced off a couple of Bengals and didn't hit the ground, came up, made a great spike. And in the middle of my spike, I grew up watching Drew Pearson. Of course, if you in Texas, you're gonna watch the Cowboys.
Yes, sir.
I know he did a double wind-up spike once, and Drew, I'm sorry if you're listening. And he hurt his knee. I guess it was against the Vikings. And I was gonna do that double wind-up spike, and in the middle of my jump, I thought about him because we had just made a 93-yard drive, and I was tired. And in the middle of that jump, I wanted to do a double wind-up spike like he did. And I thought about it when I left the ground, and that's when I just threw it down with my left hand. Yeah, it was a crazy moment. And then all my teammates want to high-five me and jump, and I'm like, guys, I'm tired, man. That was a 93-yard drive, and I didn't get a break.
Oh, yeah. So everyone is probably waiting for this. They waited patiently. I wanted to put it to the end. So I think first of all we gotta say thank you for joining. I'll probably thank you again. This went way too quick for the show. Yeah. We probably should have brought you in for the whole show. But what is your prediction for the outcome of the Super Bowl?
Hey, Dante, before I do that, can I give a shout out to my hometown of Lexington, Texas?
Oh, yeah.
That's where I graduated from, Lexington, Texas, Lexington High School. A lot of people, even though it's only 60 miles east of here, probably never heard of it. To my coaches, my friends, my teammates, without them, I couldn't be here. College, Rice University, without them, I wouldn't be here. And I am just so blessed to be a part and surrounded by so many people that encouraged me. And I have to say, I don't know what you're going to ask me, but I have to say that I'm leaning toward the Chiefs because Samaje Perine went to Hendrickson High School where I taught at for 17 years.
Wow. Yeah.
And he's with the Chiefs this year.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why we make our predictions. Sometimes it's that little detail that pulls us in. I like that. Okay, you sold me, sir. I'm gonna go for the Chiefs too then.
Samaje made a great catch last week to close the game out, stayed in bounds, and that was a big thing too because the clock would have stopped had he run out of bounds. But
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We go over those things. Say, hey, clock management. They go over all that stuff. And what people don't understand is we sit in the meeting rooms like we sit in classrooms, and we watch film until our eyes go crossed.
Wow.
To see what tendencies are and how much weight a lineman might be putting on his hand. A running back stance and a tight end stance has to be the same every time because they read your body language to kind of figure out what play you're going to run.
Yeah. No, I get that. I understand that. That's but like you said, within that 10 yards, you had 1,000 thoughts to go through. And so you got thoughts, you got memories, you got tendencies. Wow. I never really thought of it like that.
It's very detailed what we go over as far as body language, as far as studying, as far as tendencies, and I'm going to say it like this right now. I'm glad I came along the time I did. As far as media wise, but and you can't complain because there's always going to be something before you and something after you. But I'm glad I came along when I did because sometimes I listen to these guys in media and they give you game plan away.
Yes, sir.
Because they analyze every position, every running back, every play, every quarterback. I think I heard this week the size of the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is per man is 26 pounds heavier than the Kansas City defensive line. So what does that mean? That means Kansas City is going to get a lot of Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Mr. Cooper, this was amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Earl Cooper, the pride of Lexington, Texas. Sir, Wikipedia had the 2020 census, 1,200 people in that town. That's it.
Yeah, it hadn't grown any. I tell the kids all the time. I'm sure you familiar with Pflugerville and Manor.
Yes, sir.
And Westlake. We played against those at Leander. They were in our district in high school. Now they all have grown to, that was in the mid 70s.
Yeah.
They've all grown to multiple 5A and 6A schools, and Lexington is still 3A.
Yeah,
They only 3A. They only 3A because of UIL alignments, not because they've grown any.
Right.
Yes.
And thanks again. Thanks for joining us here on the Fans View, sir. This was great. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, and I look forward to visiting y'all at the station and seeing y'all and go Chiefs, Samaje, and good luck to him and Hendrickson High School coaches that coached him, and we look forward to the good thing about if you pull for the Chiefs. I hate to I'm gonna extend you here. Nobody's ever had a three-peat.
Yeah.
And that would be great for the history of the NFL. But you got to kind of in your mind pull for the Eagles with Jalen Hurts and Saquon because they're such great players, and you don't know when you're gonna get that opportunity to play in another Super Bowl.
Right.
When I played in Super Bowl XXIII, I didn't think that we'd ever get. You never know if you're gonna ever get back. So you would like to win it while you're there. Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. 4 straight back then.
you would like to win it. You would like to win it while you're in it, but because you never know if you're going to get back. And since Mahomes has had 2 or 3, but Samaje gonna get his first win if he, if the Chiefs are okay. But you got to look at Hurts and these Texas guys that's playing on those teams that you wish them well also.
Yeah, and we do. We're pulling from them Texas boys.
Yes.
Hey, thanks again,
yes,
Mr. Cooper.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.